It's coming up this just a few weeks, September 11, 12, and 13. The activities for this year's air show kick off on Friday, September 11th, out at the airport. The first year we did it, we had some activities out at the airport, and it's difficult with a remote show, is what the industry calls it, meaning it's not at the airport, it's at a remote location. And Riverfront's certainly where we want to do that, but a lot of folks want to get up, and the little kids, and some of the veterans, and people that just like planes, want to get a chance to get up close to those planes and meet some of those pilots and performers. And so Friday is the one chance to be able to do that out at the airport, from 4 until around 8:30 that night. Most all the aircraft that we've got that will be performing will be on display, as well as several military groups. The federal government, if you remember a few years ago, had a sequester with budget cuts, and so they didn't participate in anything for a little bit of time. They're slowly loosening those reins and getting back to marketing the military. And so we've got some great participation. The Navy's plane, and they've got scheduled to have one of their E-2 aircraft. It's a big reconnaissance surveillance plane that'll be here. We've got the Kentucky Air Guard. Many of you see it coming and going from our airport regularly, but it'll be on the ground, and you can get up close and walk through that huge C-130. Navy's also got a transport, big cargo plane. It's almost the size of the C-130, and it lands on the aircraft carrier. It's called C-2, and they've got one of those scheduled to be here. We've also got a C-17. This plane is one of the biggest things that flies. It's about the size of a Boeing 747, and believe it or not, there's a kid. I call him a kid. I shouldn't do that. There's a young man who's actually a commander of one of these in a unit out of South Carolina, who's from Owensboro, Kentucky. And so he wants to bring. They do military stuff. They do training exercises, and they've got a certain amount of outreach they need to do. And so he met with his base commander several times, and he's been pushing it to get back here to Owensboro for our air show. So we'll have that huge C-17 out on the ramp for people, again, climb up in the back of it. That aircraft, just as another side note, is the presidential security detail. Every time they take his limousine on security detail, any place he goes, that's the not that exact one, but that's the type of aircraft that flies the president's stuff around. So we'll have one of those on display that weekend as well. So the activities start around 4, like I said, and late afternoon we'll have some performers up in the sky, and as it starts to get dark, we've got 2 or 3 performers that have got pyro and lights and put on a fun show once it gets dark. And then the end of the night we'll cap it off with a short fireworks display courtesy of Independence Bank. September 11th is a date that when I was growing up didn't merely mean anything. But after 2001, September 11th is one of those red flags. As soon as somebody says it, everybody kind of takes notice. And we're excited to actually be able to have a great military, kind of a patriotic event on September 11th. And Century Aluminum, a good partner of ours this year with the show, and so they're helping us out with Patriot Day. To get in Friday at the airport, it's $2 for admission for that. Kids 12 and under are free. But thanks to Century Aluminum, all the military, all first responders, recognition of 9/11 are going to get in free that night. But more exciting, they're going to do a contest. We've got a B-17 that you can see there, classic vintage World War II bomber that everybody's familiar with. When you look back at the history books, and was a huge part of our Allied forces, we've got one of those huge aircraft going to be in town, and you can take a unique opportunity for a ride-along. And so Century Aluminum is going to sign up any first responders and military on site Friday, and they'll pick 2 at random, and they'll get a chance to go up for a ride on Saturday in that World War II bomber before the air show starts on Saturday afternoon, which is pretty exciting. It will be, we do anticipate quite a few folks out there, and so we've got parking set up at numerous locations there along Biddle Road at the entrance to the airport, and we've got quite a few support to help manage that process. So don't plan to arrive at 7 or 7:30 and think you're going to pull up the front lot, because it'll probably be full. All the activity then shifts downtown on Saturday and Sunday. This is a photo from a couple of years ago, and it is really a packed downtown, Owensboro, for the air show. And this was without some of the marquee performers we've got this year, so you'll certainly want to get there early. The show itself starts at 1 o'clock both days. It'll end sometime between 3:30 and 4 both days, assuming that we're on time, and we should be pretty close. There's food vendors almost every single block downtown. We've got interactive military displays that you can purchase your favorite aviation stuff. But you certainly want to get there early. You can see here again the crowds. It is shoulder to shoulder, and so if you show up at 1 o'clock, I guarantee you're not going to be sitting right along the railing of the river to see the show. If you want to arrive late, but you want to make sure you get up front, one chance, it's only $10 a person, which is pretty cheap at the convention center. You can buy reserved seats. We've got the Pier, or the old showroom lounge that's opened up recently, and so they're selling tables and chairs out on that pier space, and they've got a limited number of tickets there for $10 a person. So you truly could show up right at 1 o'clock if you want and be right in the front row. What aircraft do we have coming? Here's the B-17 bomber I was talking about. As I mentioned, they do rides in that, paid rides. This is managed by a group out of Michigan, non-profit, a bunch of veterans that just love aircraft, and they restore them and they take those living history museums all over the country. And so they'll be here in town, and you can go on our website, click the link. It goes right to their page, but you can purchase that. We've got quite a few folks that are buying those as gifts for Dad and for Grandpa, and folks that just love it are veterans and want a chance to go up to those living history flying fortresses. Gene Soucy will be here. Does anyone remember the hydroplane racing days back that we used to have a long time ago? They used to have aircraft that came into town and do some air show elements during the hydroplane races. Gene Soucy was doing it then, and he's still doing it today in his biplane. He's been received tremendous number of accolades, and he's been doing it for decades, and he'll be back and he'll perform Friday night. U.S. Army Special Operations parachute team scheduled to be here. It's not, we had the Golden Knights last year, but this time we got the Special Operations group that's scheduled to be here. Michael Goulian, the aircraft run on the top, flying above the Blue Angels there. He's a member of the U.S. team for the Red Bull Air Races regularly, and he's an amazing aerobatic pilot. John Klatt is an Air National Guard veteran, served numerous tours over the Middle East, and he also flies as a side job, besides his Air National Guard duties, flies aerobatics and he'll be in town. Matt Younkin's a good old country boy from Arkansas, and he takes this twin Beech that's just not supposed to do aerobatics, but he does aerobatics with it, and he'll be there Friday night and Saturday and Sunday as well. This is a T-33 jet trainer from kind of Korean Vietnam War era, and Ace Maker will be in town screaming over the river. Rifle air shows. Colonel Shetterly is active military as well. He used to fly military jets, do demos for several branches of the military, and now he also does aerobatics on the side too. Canadian Air Force, if you've been to our air show in previous years, a couple years ago, they were here. They bring the F-18 fighter jet, one of the most iconic fighter jets of any military, and they put it through a full demonstration, screaming at Mach speeds almost over the river. And so we just confirmed them last week that they're able to bring that jet back for a full demonstration, which is great. And then last but not least, we've got a video that doesn't look like it's going to show there. Maybe?
It is. Well,
all right, here we go.
Want to see the capabilities of an Air Force F-16 up close? How about 6 of them flying nearly 18 inches apart, performing intense aerobatic maneuvers? Then come on down to the riverfront in downtown Owensboro on September 12th and 13th for the Owensboro Air Show. I'm Thunderbird 3, Captain Alex Goldfein of the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, and I hope to see you there.
Thunderbirds, Air Force, most everybody knows who they are. They've got 8 jets that come to town. They're going to do their full demonstration both days over the river. They've got a practice day on Friday. Shh, don't tell anybody, but if you can't get there over the weekend, go see them Friday. You'll see the same thing. But so they'll do their practice Friday and be there Saturday and Sunday, both days, for that demonstration. Obviously, they bring a tremendous amount of marketing and exposure and awareness to us. And just as a side note, several people have asked me, and they send emails of major concern, why would we spend so much money to bring the Thunderbirds into town? But believe it or not, it's all marketing. Not all, but the vast majority of it's marketing that the federal government and the Air Force has got in their budgets. They bring in a crew that's significant. Most people, I had several people say, what, 10 or 12 people, who's coming for the Thunderbirds? They actually bring between 60 and 75 personnel to take care of these 8 aircraft that they've got. So they have a tremendous presence in town, and the federal government takes care of all their fuel and their transportation and their hotel and their food and. So we're thrilled to be able to have them, and hopefully we can get them back in several years to come. Downtown will be busy, like we said. There is ample parking, again, as we mentioned, for July 4th. Crowded, shoulder-to-shoulder crowds that are out there, and yet there's still ample parking available. We've got the Grits garages open, the downtown garage is open, numerous surface lots, tremendous amount of street parking that's available. The trolley will also be running. We've got a couple of trolleys that will be running that day, looping through downtown. So if you do have to park a little bit farther east or west, you can hop on that, and if you want to get down by River Park, or if you're on the east and you want to go down to the convention center, you can still do that. We have a couple of special contests that we're doing too. Lambert, St. Louis International Airport, and Cape Air are good partners of ours with the air show and sponsors, and they're going to be doing similar to what they've got with the airport, a little St. Louis getaway weekend. You can log on right now to our air show website, owensboroairshow.com, and register for that, and they're just going to pick 2 different winners. That wins round-trip airfare to St. Louis, hotel, and a couple of tickets to the last home series that the Cardinals have before they start the playoffs. So you can sign up at the air show. They'll have a kiosk that's out there you can sign up, or You can log on as soon as we get done with this meeting today and go sign up for a chance to win. We're also doing a contest called Best Seats in the House. The pier that we talked about is really kind of show center of the show. So front and center at the end of the pier, hanging out over the water, we've got 2 spaces that we carved out, basically a great tailgate party for you and your best friends. So you and 7 of your best friends and family. If you don't like your family, bring your friends. But you can get down there, and so what we're doing is we've got some trivia contests we're doing. So tap into our social media. The details are on our Airshow website. But we've got some trivia questions. So on Tuesday before the Airshow, we've got some Airshow trivia, and the first person to answer that right will win their own little tailgate space right there at the end of the pier. Food, drinks, camp chairs, your own little tailgate party, front and center to watch the Airshow. So we'll have 2 of those winners for Saturday, and then if you come to the activities on Friday, we'll have a couple more questions to win the best seats in the house where you can watch it in a better spot than anybody else gets. And that's the Owensboro Airshow. So again, a signature event that we've got, brings lots of folks to the community. We're excited about it, but again, don't delay in getting there because we know it's going to be a packed house, and it is the same show both days that many folks have been asking about. So again, thanks for having me here today, and that's one of our events we've got coming up in just a few weeks.